Hey guys, happy Friday. You have to excuse my voice. I've been a little I've been a little sick, so having a little bit of a hard time speaking. But I am back in Wisconsin at the moment after a 15-hour road trip back here. And it's really nice to be back by family and back for the holidays. Um, and so this week I've kind of been taking it easy. But when I was driving, I was listening to some great podcasts. And one of them in particular really stood out to me as something that I knew you guys would find super helpful. And so I wanted to pass that information on to you. And it's already something that I use with my clients around storytelling and using your story in your branding and your content because it is what makes you stand out. It's it's super powerful. It's the difference between you just being, hey Jen, good morning from Albuquerque. Nice. Are you in Albuquerque for the holidays, I'm guessing? That sounds nice. I've never been to Albuquerque. Um, but it really makes the difference. Using your story is what makes the difference between you really standing out and just blending in with everyone else and all the information that's out there. Because if we're starting a business and we're starting it online, obviously like there's so much information available to everyone online, and so it's super important for us to really stand out. And so I'm going to go through how to use your story and really like give you a formula to like write your story and create it. And I think it's really awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and dive in. If you guys have any questions as I'm going, let me know. I truly think that this topic is going to change like your marketing for you. So where I see like so many people get stuck is that not really knowing what to talk about when it comes to marketing, and not knowing how to market in a way that feels authentic, and being really scared of being salesy or pushy or having to like market in a way that just doesn't feel right to them, and not knowing how they're going to stand out because it's true that there's like coaching is booming right now. Like it's blowing up. Like it's a huge growing industry right now. And I think it's a really good thing because there's such a need for it. But the thing is, the important thing is, how do you stand out from all the other coaches out there? And most importantly, like how do you stand out to the people who are looking for what you have to offer is really the big thing. Because coaching is really about transformation. And so we really want to talk about that in our marketing and portray it so that people understand what we have to offer as opposed to information. And so if we're marketing in a way that's just giving people information, like it's not effective because it doesn't tell people that we can help them transform. And so it may be entertaining to them, but it doesn't get them to necessarily want to work with us. So I want to tell you how you can bring in your story to really build an awesome connection with your ideal clients, because that's really where coaching stands out as well, is that as opposed to like therapy or, working with a doctor or, some other things like options that people have, I think coaching really stands out because it's really good at building those connections with people. And so your story really helps build that connection with people. And so I want to talk about that, how you can use that. And what was the other thing I was going to say? And then the other thing is just about portraying that you can help people get transformation as opposed to just giving them more information that they can find anywhere online. And so people really want to have that connection, and they want to see the person behind your brand. And I know for me, and you guys can see if you can relate, like if I go to someone's like Instagram or something or Facebook, and all I see is posts that they have, but I don't even see who the person is behind the brand or any sort of story. It's just them sharing all this information or all these facts. I'm not interested in that because I can go and look all that stuff up online somewhere. I want to like connect with someone and connect with their story and connect with, where they're coming from and how whatever they're talking about relates to me as well. So let me know if you guys can relate to that. But sometimes I do that. I'll like go to someone's like Instagram or something, and it's just like all this information, like recipes or whatever, and maybe they're beautiful images, but if I don't see any story or any person behind the brand, it's just not even interesting to me because I want to connect with someone. And so this is really the importance of bringing in our story. Good morning, Sunny. Yeah, let me see if I missed any comments just before I get going. I know I started talking and then, okay, so how do you narrow your niche? Okay, I'm going to talk about that. And I have an ideal client worksheet on that too, which, yeah, it's helpful. So definitely download that. I don't know if I can see the rest of the comments. It gets so tricky. If I missed something important, re-comment because it's not letting me go up. Yeah, Allie's saying, yeah, you unfollow people where there's no personal story. Like sometimes you'll scroll through and you can't even see a picture of someone. You can't even see who they are. And it's like, who is this? Is it even a person? Is it just, you don't know. And so I want to give you guys like step by step how to bring in your story and what specifically to talk about. And Crystal had asked some really good questions and I want to address those too. So her questions, I want to bring them up right away because I think you guys have probably run into these as well. Was how do you tell a story and get to the point without like rambling on, and what should you actually be focusing on? Like what is the point? What, is the important part that you want to be really talking about or focusing on your story so you're not just like rambling on and on and on. And then the other part is how to balance between too much information. So like sharing everything in the kitchen sink, maybe sharing too much to not sharing enough information. So I think it's important to find the balance. And for all of us, the balance might be a little different as far as like how much you're sharing. So, and I think it matters to share enough so that your ideal client can relate. And then the other thing is how do you make sure whatever it is that you're sharing is relatable and entertaining? So you want to catch people's attention. You don't want them to start reading and then just be bored and, click off. And we were talking about this in my group with my clients yesterday, actually, about the fact that it doesn't necessarily matter, I think, how long your posts are, if you're doing a blog post or like a post on social media. If it's really good and engaging, people are going to read through it. And they're going to want to read all of it, even if it's kind of long. But if it's not good and it's not engaging, most likely they're just going to click off of it, especially if it's long, because they're not going to be interested to read all of it. So I think I'm going to cover all those. I should cover all those in this, Crystal, but I want to give you some steps to go through when you're writing your story. And so where I got this from is I was listening to a podcast. Actually, I believe it was Amy Porterfield's podcast, which is really good if you're looking for, marketing stuff. And she was interviewing, his name is Donald Miller, and he has a company called StoryBrand. It's all about bringing story into your brand. And he went through some steps that he recommends. And I want to just share these with you because truly they're the steps I pretty much teach anyways, but he just laid them out in a nice way and kind of explained them that I think it was really helpful. Good morning, Maggie. But I'm always talking about this with my clients, like how important bringing your story is into what you're doing. And especially when it comes to marketing, I teach my clients how to use Facebook marketing, which is awesome and super effective. But the thing is, if you don't have a really strong story that stands out, people aren't going to click on your ads. It's just going to go right by them. They're not going to pay any attention to it. So it becomes really important to have something that when they read it, they're so interested. They're like, oh my gosh, like this sounds just like me. Like, is she following me around? Like, how does she know this stuff? And that's really the power of having the strong story. I'll link the podcast in the comments of this video so you can check it out. Okay, so So the parts of the story, and he gives 7 parts. I'm going to go through them with you guys. If you have any questions as I'm going, let me know. But number 1 is having a character. And so this character is your ideal client. I'm always talking about the importance of knowing your ideal client. And you really have to know this, because this is what you're like writing the story for, or who you're writing the story for. It's like the main character in your story. And so if you are not sure about who your ideal client is, I do have an ideal client worksheet that is really helpful that you can go through. I'll link it in this video as well, so you can download that and go through and actually go through and fill out the worksheet that I have there, because it will help you get clear on your ideal client. So that's number 1. And your ideal client is someone who they want something, right? So make sure that your ideal client is someone who wants something. And then number 2 is your ideal client has to have a problem. And this is what I talk about, and I want to like hammer home for you guys. Your coaching services have to solve a problem, okay? One main problem. And he talks about this too, and I talk about this all the time too. You have to have one main problem that you solve for people. And if you are like, I help everyone with everything, or all these different problems, your message is so diluted that no one is going to want to come to you for help. And the thing is too, if you start talking about all these different problems that they solve, or that you solve, people get confused. And anytime someone is confused, they will click away or they will say no. So we always want to avoid confusion. And so really it's super important to know, like, what is the number 1 primary problem that I help people solve? Super important. And you want to bring that into your messaging and into your story as well. So if you stop talking about the problem that you help people solve, people will stop coming to you. Because anytime someone is coming to you to want to hire you for something, it's because they want help solving a problem. Okay, so let me know if that makes sense to you guys, because it's super important. And it's where so many people get stuck with ideal client and creating their brand and their program and stuff, because they don't pick one main problem to be helping people with. And so I want to make sure that you guys you got that. Okay. And if you get confused about like what's the main problem you want to be helping people solve, it's something I love helping people with. So you can always sign up for a free call with me. And if you're interested in working together, like that is something that I make sure that I go through with all my clients, and we get really clear on ideal client and the problem you solve. It's really the core of your whole offering of everything that you do. Yes, so your story must always link back to the problem. Absolutely. Every post that you ever do, every blog post, everything that you put on social media should always link back to the main problem that you help people solve. Absolutely. Everything. So keep this in mind. It doesn't mean, okay, I shouldn't say like absolutely everything. If you want to do just like a fun little random post about something, that's fine. But such as showing like a recipe or showing your meal for the day or something like that, but you should still link it back to your ideal client in some way, or a problem. And I do this a lot too in my business, and you can see, like, if you kind of go through a lot of my stuff, I talk about a lot of different random topics because I'm really interested in like personal growth and spirituality and all that stuff, but I always link it back to building a business and how it relates to building a business, because that's my ideal client's main problem, is wanting to build their business, right? So, and if you want examples, you can go through and kind of look at some of my stuff, but I always do that too. So yes, always link back to the problem. So number 3 was, you want to enter your story as the guide. So, this means that you're the one that is entering the story as, I can help you with this. Like, I'm going to show you the way. And I often talk about this too, is like when you're talking about your story, like that you want to talk about where you've been in the past. So that's talking about your client's problem. what you went through to like solve that problem and where you are now. So since you've gone through this, you become the guide then in the story so that you can guide them on their path. And if you think about like a lot of movies, a lot of times they have guides. The main character or like the hero of the movie like has a guide that guides them through the journey and the process. And so as a coach, you are the guide to your clients. And so that's how you want to enter the story as the guide. Let me know if that makes sense. So, and then you want to, step number 4 is to give your customers or your potential clients a plan. So letting them know, like, these are the things that we're going to go through when we work together, or these are the steps to get from where you are now to where you want to go. And this doesn't mean like going really into depth about your program or your process, because I don't believe in doing that, because I think it can cause overwhelm and confusion. But to know like for example, so I tell my clients, like, a lot of times, like, you have to, like, kind of the main steps, like knowing who your ideal client is and having a good marketing plan and always working on your mindset. Like, those could kind of be three main steps, right, for like people who would want to work with me. But you have to kind of know and be able to tell people, like, I can walk you down this path, and these are going to be the main things that we need to work on to get you from where you are now to where you want to go. So that can be really helpful, because it gives people, we want a pathway, and it can be really helpful to have that and to start to see that, like, that this is going to be the pathway that I'm going to take to get from where I am to where I want to go. So let me know if you guys have any questions on that. And he says a lot of times having three steps is good. I can't say I've done any research on that, but I would say no more than 5. More than 5 gets like overwhelming. So, 5 or less steps. Jen, you just asked the question. I was just talking about it. Yeah. So 6 is maybe getting too much. I would see if you can get it down to 5. See if you can kind of put maybe 2 of them together or a few of them together. Like I said, he really honed in on 3, that he said 3 to 4 was really good. But generally I've heard too that people like odd numbers. So I usually say 3 or 5, but I would say probably no more than 5. So, okay. So then the next step number 5, is having a call to action. And I mean, I talk about this a lot, but you need to have a call to action for people to take a step. And for most of us, it's going to be to sign up for a free call with you, to explore working together. So you want to have like a really clear, direct call to action. Like, click here to sign up for a free call where we can talk about how we can make this happen for you, right? So you don't want to be wishy-washy about your call to action, because if you are, it shows a lack of confidence. Because if you were really confident in what you had to offer and that you could help people, you're going to be like, click here and sign up because I can help you, right? So you want to really make sure that that call to action isn't wishy-washy. It isn't kind of like, if I might like to work with you, and if you're interested, reach out, but you don't tell them how to do it. Be really direct. Tell them, like, click here on this link to sign up for a free call with me if you're interested in working together. So yeah, make sure that you have a really strong call to action. It's really clear. You tell them exactly what to do. Okay, Crystal, let me see what you're saying. So do these 3 steps show up in every post or interaction with story? So I don't think these 3 steps have to show up in every post that you do, but I think it can be helpful to bring them into some posts, especially some longer posts and posts where you're talking about and you're really doing a call to action to sign up for a free call to work with you. I think it can be really helpful to be like, these are the things that we do. And I often do this actually in my, like, if I do a call to action for someone to sign up for a free call with me or consultation, I actually give 3 outcomes of what we will be talking about on the call. And I have that in some of my newsletters, and Crystal, of course, I can get that to you as an example. I think it should be in the content that I have. But a lot of times I do that because people, it's nice to know, like, oh, we're going to cover these 3 things, whether it's in what you're working together on, or if they sign up for a call, you're going to cover those 3 things on the call. So I think it's nice for people to kind of have that pathway or that reference of what they're going to be covering, because we as humans like to know where we're going, and we like to have that path. So, okay. So then the call to action that shows that you're confident about your program and what you have to offer. And then step number, 6. Okay. Super important. What your potential ideal client, or what your ideal client is going to miss out on if they don't sign up to work with you, if they don't get these problems fixed. This is something that I always talk about and have my clients go through and figure out, because it's super important. But you want to, this is the stakes, right? The risk of them not solving the problem, of them not signing up to work with you. And so for example, for my clients, it would be like continuing to work a job that you hate, or always knowing that you have this calling to do work as a coach or as a healer or a mentor, and never stepping into that and not feeling fulfilled, or not having the freedom, the flexibility that you really want to have in your life, not making the money that you want to be making. So these are examples of things that my ideal client, someone who's wanting to start a business, would miss out on by not working with me or not getting their business up and running. And so you want to figure out what those are for your ideal client. So go through, and I would write a list, like, if this person does not work with me, what's going to happen? Like, what are the stakes? What could their life look like in 5 years and 10 years if they don't fix these problems? So it's really powerful to know this, because first of all, it reinforces for you how important it is for someone to work with you. But it also shows that person, like, it's a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, if you don't do anything, like, this is what's going to happen. And so I think that's really important too. And then the last piece is how great their life is going to be if they do sign up for your service, if they do work with you, and really getting into that. So this really goes into, worst case scenario and what's going to happen if they don't make any changes. And then best case scenario, like really getting into their vision and their dreams and what it is that they really want. And you really want to get into both of those and paint a picture for them, because this is the whole reason why someone wants to work with you. They want to get out of their pain, get out of the things that aren't working, the things that they don't like, the things that they're trying to escape from, and move into their vision, which is like their dreams, like really their ideal life, like what they want to happen. And so you really want to paint that picture for someone and get into the details, because it's really going to make the difference, and it makes it really real for people too. So those are the steps. Those are the 7 steps that you really want to bring into like storytelling when you're doing your posts. And truthfully, I would say most of your posts can include almost all, if not all, of these pieces to some extent. And you could still write a pretty short post with it. If you want like the shortened version, it's really problem. So talking about the problem that your ideal client has, talking about the solution that you provide, or how you are the solution, and then the result. So what is the end result they're going to get when they go through and they work with you or they have that solution. So are you telling your story as though it's their story, or are you using I statements? So let me think about this. So really, like, I think when I do it, or when I like think about doing a post, a lot of times like I start with some sort of a question, right? So if you're thinking about just like doing a post, I think like the problem, solution, result can be like a good way to think about it too. So the problem, usually I'll draw them in with like a question, like, are you struggling with this, or is this going on? Do you find that you're getting stuck with this? And then usually I bring a little bit of a story into that. I think you can bring it in either about your personal story or about them and what's going on for them. So drawing a little bit more on the problem and how it's showing up for them. And then giving a bit of a solution. So either how you found the solution in your own life, and then you can say like, I've done this and I can show you how to do the same thing. Or just kind of saying like, these are the steps that you can take to, overcome this. And like I said, you don't have to get into specifics. It's usually more of a broad outline, like if you're giving like the 3 main steps or the 5 main steps. And then what is going to be the result if they do take that action. So then painting a picture of that end result, like the good, where they want to be. So I think that can be really helpful when you're coming in and you're using the storytelling. Like I said, you can play with this a little bit. Like this is one person's recommendation, but I do think that bringing the storytelling into your business and into pretty much all your posts and stuff to some extent is super important. And it's really what's going to make your branding and your messaging stand out. And so I would absolutely bring it in 100%. You can play with it a little bit and make it your own. But I mean, feel free to look through my posts and look at examples, other people that you really admire, like see what kind of resonates with you too when you're looking at people's posts. But I would say like story, absolutely make sure you're bringing in, and it's going to be what makes you stand out to your ideal clients and really builds that like awesome connection with them. I mean, I know for me personally, like when if I'm interested in working with someone, another coach, one of the first things I always look at is someone's about me page, because I'm really interested in their story and how I connect to them and how it relates to maybe what I'm going through or what I've been through as well. And so I really do believe in the importance of that story. And for me, it's always something that I'm really looking for. So, Allie, you're welcome. I'm glad you found it helpful. Let me know if you guys have any specific questions about that. As far as, Crystal, let me see if I didn't answer any of your informations. So as far as like the too much information versus not enough information, I would say get as much into the details as you are willing to get into them. And it's going to feel a little uncomfortable. I know for me, like when I first started my coaching, I started coaching women around emotional eating and body image. And for me, like nobody really knew that about me. It was kind of like something that I had kept like a secret for so long because I was really ashamed of it. And so it was hard to like come out and start talking about it. But once I did it, it was like this huge weight was lifted. I was like, oh my gosh, like, finally I don't have to like keep this secret, and it ended up not being that big of a deal. But I didn't necessarily go into like deep, dark, I don't know, like specifics about maybe what I had struggled with, but I still got into it enough without like, I'd say like some people really get into details about it. I didn't as much in my marketing, but I think the more you're willing to, the more that people are going to connect with it, because they're like, oh my gosh, like she gets it. She's been there. Which is what we all want. We want to work with someone that like really gets it and that we connect with. Yeah, let me see what you're saying here. So could you take one specific step and dive deeper with the problem, solution, result? Yeah, absolutely. And I highly recommend that. So all your posts can be about like a specific topic too, such as night eating. Yeah, that's a great one. And so just take one specific topic. I a lot of times think like, oh, what's come up for me? What's something that I've struggled with, or what's something I'm dealing with right now? And I'll talk about that one specific topic. So you definitely don't need to go into your whole program or something with every post, and generally I don't really recommend that. But I would just say, I mean, you could kind of do like what I did on today's video. I kind of gave you like 7 steps, and kind of like what would be 3 steps or whatever that someone could take to help with night eating. So yeah, you don't have to. You can definitely hone in on specific topics. But let me see if there was anything else. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions. But that's like a great thing to do, is to go through and like make a list of all the things that your ideal client is struggling with. And you can really do like specific posts on each of those topics, and kind of bring in story. I think if you bring in how you relate to that topic, that's really helpful, because like I said, people they don't want to feel crazy, they don't want to feel alone, they want to feel understood, and so it really helps if you bring in some of your story to the topics that you're talking about. So all right, let me know if you guys have any other questions. If you guys want help getting clear on ideal client, getting clear on how you bring all this into your marketing, how you start getting, so this is the thing, like you can be doing all this really awesome marketing and bringing in like the storytelling and all that, but if you don't have a way to get your content in front of your ideal clients, then the right people aren't necessarily seeing it. So that's another really important thing that I always teach my clients how to do. Like, how do we start building your tribe or your followers with people who are actually your ideal client? So really like having the storytelling, knowing who your ideal client is, what the problem is that you're solving, and knowing how to get that out in front of your ideal clients and start to build up that tribe, is super important. And that's something that I walk all my clients through, and we really do step by step. So if that's something that you've been struggling with and you're interested in getting support with, like I'd love to talk to you more about that. And I offer free consultations where we can go through that. And so I'll put a link to a call with me if you're interested in that, and you can click there and sign up, because it makes a huge difference as far as trying to figure it all out on your own, really making sure that you're doing what actually works to get you in front of the right people and start to build up that community and market super effectively. So we go through like all this stuff a lot, like step by step by step. So you're not having to figure it out on your own. It saves you tons and tons of time and craziness of trying to figure it out on your own. Allie, I love that. I would love to talk to you so much. So let me know if you guys have any other questions on this. If you think of questions later and you want to type them under this video, I'd be happy to answer them as well. I love talking about this stuff. Like, marketing gets me so excited. I mean, it gets me so excited because it gets you out helping people who really need your help. And truly, like, that's my biggest mission, is getting you guys doing the work that you're really passionate about and using your gifts and doing what you're meant to be doing in this world, which I think is super important. It has changed my life so much. Like, starting my business has been the number one thing that has changed my life in so many ways, like everything in my life. And so that's why I'm so passionate about helping you guys do the same thing, because I think it's such a journey for transformation for us. And then the other thing is obviously getting us out in front of the people that we're meant to be helping, and really that ripple effect of making change like throughout the world. And I do think that all change happens, from the ground up. And so just by us stepping in and being our highest versions of ourselves, like that ripples out to everyone around us. And then also really ripples out to everyone that we're helping through our coaching. And then for every person that you help, the same thing, like they've made that change and transformation, and that ripples out to everyone around them. So it's really a cool process, and I think it's how we make the world a better place. And so I'm excited about it, excited about helping everyone do what they're meant to be doing and make the change that they really want to be making. So all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you everyone so much who joined me. Thank you for all the great comments. If there's anything I missed, I couldn't see all the comments, so I'll go back and see if there's anything I missed. I will answer them. If you're interested in a call with me, I'd be happy. I love talking to you guys. So I'll put a link, make sure that you sign up. And I hope everyone has an absolutely beautiful holidays and, good time with your friends or family or whatever it is that you do. And I look forward to talking to you guys next week. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.